Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Timo Parker. I'm a vocal coach and I'm here to help you improve your singing voice. The construction in front of my house has just stopped, so let's cross fingers that we make it through this video. Today I want to talk about the larynx, and to be a little bit more specific, I want to talk about the thyroid cartilage, which is the front part of the larynx. And as the name already indicates, it's made of a cartilage, it's made of flexible tissue. And because of that, we can actually change the shape of the thyroid cartilage. So there are two directions in which we can move the thyroid cartilage. It can get wider or more narrow. And today I want to talk about why it's beneficial to widen up the thyroid cartilage. What does it mean sound-wise and anatomically? So let's jump right into it. So first I want to address why we should sing with a wide thyroid cartilage. What benefits do we have from that? Well, there are a few, but let's start with the most important one when you're starting out as a singer. If you've seen the videos, you know that we should try to avoid falsetto. As a very quick recap, what we are doing in falsetto is that we're clipping off our vocal cords, so that means we don't use the full length of the vocal cords anymore, and it's not a very healthy way to sing, and that's why we should avoid it. And this is where the wide thyroid cartilage comes in handy by avoiding falsetto, because when we are singing, the vocal cords actually don't have to make contact with each other. That's not a bad thing if they don't meet. It's a bad thing if we start clipping them off using falsetto or using air pressure. So when we widen our thyroid cartilage, the vocal cords get pulled apart. So you can see it on the graphic here on the side that the vocal cords are attached to the front part of your thyroid cartilage, and in the back part they're connected to something that are called arytenoid cartilages. And those things in the back, I have to actually come back a little, they can open and close. So in the front, the vocal cords are in a fixed position. They can't really change the position in the front. But in the back, the arytenoid cartilages can open and close the vocal cords. So for example, when we are breathing, the arytenoid cartilages open up so air can pass through. And when we are singing, they close off the air pipe and the vocal cords can make contact. So what happens if we widen our thyroid cartilage is that the arytenoid cartilages get pulled apart and the vocal cords get also pulled apart. And this way, the room between the two vocal cords, also called rima glottides, increases. And that is an advantage because if the vocal cords are pulled apart, we can't really produce a falsetto sound. Because for this clipping off mechanism of the falsetto, the vocal cords have to actually meet in certain points, but when they are too far away, they can't do that. That's why a wide thyroid cartilage can be a great help in the beginning to actually avoid falsetto. And this way we also make sure to use our CT muscle properly and not switch accidentally into falsetto. And this is a big reason why you should train your thyroid cartilage to be in a wide position when you sing. So the result of that action is that the sound gets much more airy because the vocal cords are further apart and more air can pass through. Just to make sure, we don't want to push air out to create an airy sound. That's just something that happens because the vocal cords let more air through because the space in between the rima glottides increases slightly. And in the upper register, it can actually help us darken the sound a little, so we get a bit more depth into the singing voice in a higher register. But there's also another phenomenon that can occur when you're in a high register, and that is because you're stretching your vocal cords with the CT muscle and the vocal cords get thinner, a bit like this scrunchie here. So if we have the vocal cords in a relaxed position, the two strings here, the two vocal cords in this case, they are thicker, but when we stretch it, the vocal cords get much thinner instead of being a bit more relaxed down here. So with increased stretch, the vocal cords thinnen out, and that's why they might not meet in a higher register and more air passes through. But if we, on top of that, also open up the thyroid cartilage, that means we have this thing where the vocal cords go further apart because of the high stretch, plus we open up the thyroid cartilage, there's most likely not going to be an audible note. And that's totally fine, because this way we make sure to train the right muscles and we don't have to force a vocal cord closure up there. That can be very intimidating or very weird at the beginning. It's also actually not so easy to do it in a high register, but this is how we make sure that we train properly the muscles and don't fall into falsetto or do anything else. So never force your vocal cords to close, especially in the higher register. And also, especially if you widen your thyroid cartilage, there might be not a note audible. So for gaining a darker sound, broader range, and also for your vocal health, the wide thyroid cartilage is an incredible tool that you should definitely work on. Okay, let's come to the practical part of this video. I want to show you a little exercise that you can do to increase the width of your thyroid cartilage. Every exercise that I'm showing you, nothing is done with force or with a lot of strength. It's more of a gentle opening. Everything we do is based on relaxation. So as soon as you tense up because you desperately want to open the thyroid cartilage, you're doing too much. Relax, do less, and see that you have the feeling that it opens up almost entirely by itself. So the best way to do it is to either use your index and your thumb, or both of your hands with middle and index finger, and you will lie both fingers next to your thyroid cartilage. So the pointy end of your larynx, the thyroid cartilage, the front part, we want to have the fingers left and right from the pointy end. And what you're going to do is to see if there's a way to gently push your fingers away. Sometimes it also wants to go down, but we now want to just find the position where the thyroid cartilage gets wider. And sound-wise, it would sound a bit like this. I'm going to do a first note with a narrow thyroid cartilage and a second note with a wide thyroid cartilage. Okay, here we go. This is the first thing that you should try, to find the movement of your thyroid cartilage going wider. Sometimes you could also feel the sensation that the thyroid cartilage almost comes more towards the front, so towards your fingers, so in front and out. It can feel different for each person, but in general we just want to open up this part and get the sound more airy without pushing more air. And start on a very comfortable note. It doesn't have to be higher in your register, it really doesn't matter. We first have to find this movement and understand and actually feel it. So what we can do is adding a third step to the whole thing. So we start with a narrow thyroid cartilage, we do a wide thyroid cartilage, and the third step would be we widen our thyroid cartilage and we lower it. So yawning plus this widening action of the thyroid cartilage. Sounds like this. And you can hear with each step the sound gets darker and also more airy. And I could also actually hear in the room that in the third note I got a bit of a reverb, a bit of a feedback of the room. So this is always a good sign. So when you have your thyroid cartilage very open, it is very likely that you will get a response in the room that you are in. So just keep in mind the note that I was singing is just a suggestion. Please find a comfortable note in your range and just try to find the wide position of your thyroid cartilage. Alrighty, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. If you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I have more voice training videos planned on this channel, so make sure to stick around. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.